Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing this unboxing of this beautiful Folio Society book of Castle in the Air. And I kid you not, a few weeks ago, well it was like a couple of weeks ago, I was randomly looking at my Folio edition of Howl's Moving Castle. Obviously I've started this YouTube channel for reviewing books, and Howl was on the to-do list to read, so I was like looking through the book because I've not actually read the physical copy, and I thought, how amazing would it be if Folio Society did the whole trilogy? And then I thought, that's never going to happen, and literally a day or two afterwards, just by coincidence, maybe it was the universe telling me something, somebody posted into the Facebook group that this book got made, and I just couldn't believe it because I really didn't think they were going to go there. But thankfully Howl's Moving Castle was such a success they've decided to do all the books. So Folio Society is a company, I'm going to try and explain them, I don't really know much about them. They do beautiful editions of books, and sometimes a limited edition and they're really, really expensive, and sometimes they're like just books that they make and they're a little bit cheaper but still expensive. I first found out about them because of Game of Thrones. They recently started doing the Game of Thrones, which look amazing, but they all cost like, each book set costs like £250 each or something for like 2 books. So yeah, every year they do a competition for unknown illustrators with the House of Illustration in London, which is founded by Quentin Blake, and you can enter the competition, submit your illustrations, and if you win you get to illustrate their next book. So usually the illustrations are for the next book. I remember when this competition came up for Howl's Moving Castle, and originally I was going to enter it. I'm glad that I did not, because my illustration skills were not up to scratch. But the person who won was Marie-Alice Harrell, and she's a French illustrator, and her work is really, really beautiful, as we will see in a minute. So they are quite good with sending, well, good or bad, sending you a lot of mail, could be considered junk mail once you give them your address. But oh wow. So this, right, I'm going to get rid of this box. So just for reference, I mean I'll show you properly next time, but this is my Howl's Moving Castle one, and I absolutely love it. And I'll do a little flick through of this in a bit, but this has a lot of reviews already because it was a few years ago this came out. So we have Castle in the Air, which is the second story by Diana Wynne Jones from this trilogy. I've never read this book. Strangely enough, I started reading the third book and skipped this one. Although I feel like I would enjoy this one a little bit more than the third one because it's Arabian Nights themed. Oh, that's beautiful. So first off, I'm going to get picky now. I feel, I could be wrong, I feel like there's a slight difference in quality comparing the two. I didn't think I'd be this person. So I feel like this Howl's Moving Castle one on the right does look like it's been illustrated, but actually it might be a mix between Photoshop and some sort of vectors. This looks purely vector, and it looks like a lot less effort's gone into it, but it still looks really beautiful, but it looks very modern. And I saw the artist's Instagram, she was saying that how she changed techniques for this book. She's traditional usually, but she edits a little bit in Photoshop, but I feel like compared to this one it's a lot less detail. But actually, the image is quite not sharp. I'm a bit disappointed with that, actually. You can't really see it well on the camera, but it's not... It looks really sharp on camera, but it's slightly blurry in real life. I'm being very pedantic, but this is very, very sharp and neat, very clear. two side by side. I wasn't going to do a comparison, but I feel these are the two side by side. Yeah, I wasn't going to compare them both, but I feel like now I've got them together, I need to compare them both. But okay, let's focus on Castle in the Air for now. And I've not done anything like this before, so I'm not sure how I do it. This is a very loose coming out as well. Oh, I'm being so bitchy. There's a cover. Oh, it's so beautiful. So nice. So yeah, I didn't know she said that she'd mixed up her process. I don't know whether to cut down time, because the first one was all watercolour illustrations. This is so cool, and there's a genie there. So I feel bad reviewing this when I've not actually read the book, but I'll be reading it in a few weeks and then we can talk about it a bit more. I don't know who that character is, but I'm guessing it's a character. Or maybe it's like a demon or something. I think it might be a genie. So this book has 6 illustrations in it, and it was £40. And then if it's like the Howl's Moving Castle one, it will have small black and white illustrations at the beginning of each chapter, which is really cool. That's nice. It is nice, but I will say I can tell the difference between the quality in the old one and the new one. That is really nice though. This is cool as well. 2021. I can't believe we're in 2021 already. I feel like I can't comment on the significance of the illustrations here, because we've got like a frog at the bottom, we've got these flowers, and this that looks like it could be like a lamp or like a perfume bottle or something. Could be a genie bottle, I'm not sure. It's just so nice that Diana is getting love again, and it would be really nice to see some of her other books done by Folio Society. Not necessarily by the same artist, even though I love this artist. What's her name? Marie Alice Harrell. Marie Alice does an amazing job with these illustrations, and her work is really beautiful. But there's something about Diana's work that's very British, and I don't think there's something about her books that make you feel a certain way, and I feel like some of her illustrations are almost too beautiful for this world, for Howl's world. So yeah. Oh, there we go. So there's some nice black and white illustrations. Just comparing it to Howl. See, this is really tight, whereas the new one is really loose. But I like it being tight. Oh, it's quite similar then. Just a little bit more elaborate. These are really beautiful books. So I'm going to try and skip forward to the... it looks like all the chapter headers are more or less the same around the edge, but just the illustration in the middle is different, which is the same for Howl. And I will flick to the illustrated pages. Okay, so here's the first one. So nice. I remember she's gone a little bit slightly different with this. With the Howl's one, she did very big she did a square illustration, and then just one part of the page would be peeking out, and she said it was like almost like someone tugging at your sleeve at the corner, and she felt like it was a way to help people's imagination go beyond the actual picture. So this is how we've got like a square at the bottom, but then the top is kind of going on, reaching out beyond the page, and his shoes are going on. So that's really good, really good. Again, I'm sorry for any fans of this book that know it inside out. I don't know who these characters are. I don't know what happens in the book. But I will look at all these pages. So that's number 1. I believe This is number 2, and I'm going to zoom in on this because she looks really beautiful. Really nice work. Really nice colour palettes as well. I think I like these illustrations a little bit more than the Howl's ones because the Howl's ones were a little bit muted on some of them, and I feel like there's some of the pictures she chose I was a bit like annoyed with some of the choices that she made to illustrate, but I don't have that attachment to this book. So maybe after reading it I will have been like, oh, she should have illustrated this. Oh, this is nice. This is really nice. Number 3. See, do you know what, actually? I feel like the quality has declined because this feels a lot more flimsier than the Howl book, and I can see the writing from the printed on the other side of the page. It's literally like coming through. You can see it on camera there. I don't think that happened in the other book. Let's see. Although the images might have been darker. That might be the key. I feel like every image was quite dark. Yeah, this... okay, so I think the paper is still the same thickness, but maybe the choice of image... Yeah, because you can see the writing come through just vaguely on this top half. Okay, I'll let them off for that. This is really beautiful though, and I would like... I wish I had this. Hold on. Put some white paper so we can just appreciate the image. I would love this as like a large print. This young man and this genie. I love the magic in the genie's smoke. It just looks really cool. Again, I'm not sure if it really fits in with Diana's style, but let me try and zoom in on this genie's face a little bit. Really, really beautiful. So that's number 3. Yeah, number 4. Not really sure what's going off in this image, but it's nice. A really cool technique she's got here of these little dots everywhere, and I noticed that in the first book as well. It like almost hints little like magic, but you can't really see it well on the camera, but there's little speckles all over this guy. If you know who these characters are, comment below. We have a cat as well that's coming off the page. The cat is completely outside the box, which is nice. A nice touch again. So let's look for number 5. Oh, it's such a shame because this is another really light image, but you can see the text underneath. It's a shame that they didn't try and make these pages a little bit thicker, just so you could appreciate the art more, but maybe that's just me, like, me picking up on that. I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed, because when you pay 40 quid for a book, you don't want to see the text underneath a picture. This is, yeah, a little bit simple. Tiny little bit underwhelmed, but it's still really beautiful. Here's the thing with me being an illustrator. I don't know if I would... like, obviously I love to draw and I love details, and I think about, right, if you've only got one image, I would want to make it as, like, detailed and spectacular and something to really keep your eyes on it as long as possible. This is a nice picture, but again, I've not read the story, so I'm not as attached to it. I think so far the image that stood out the most to me is the one of the genie, because I think that just looks really, really beautiful. And then the last picture will be this one. Oh, this is a nice one. This is one that I saw on her Instagram, and I'm really intrigued as to who this character is. See, I'm not sure if Howl is in this book or not. You would think she would try and find a way to draw Howl, but this is really nice. So I don't know if this is like some sort of demon or another type of a genie, and there's this kind of like fairy with crow's feet, this little kind of boy-like being, and this I think might be the protagonist. This is a really, really beautiful image, and I love how the pillars are kind of fading in the background. We've got like 3 layers. It just looks so beautiful. It'd be really, really interesting to see a process of how she does something like this. But these types of books really inspire me because, just like as a general rule in mass publishing for children, when you get to a certain age, it's like not acceptable for the children to have illustrations in the books. Sorry, let me zoom out. And it really frustrates me because the normal publication of this would have like small illustrations at the beginning of each chapter. It's like considered too childish maybe or something. I don't know what the rules are. When you're making kind of a middle grade or an older reader's book, it's just not accepted that you have illustrations in there, and it really winds me up because I don't think illustrations should be reduced to like really young children and then perhaps adults as like a fine art thing. I think illustrations are really powerful, and in books as well they can complement each other really well no matter what the reading age. And I'd love to I'd like to see more adult books with illustrations. I mean, we have comic books for a reason. Do you know what? That's really beautiful, and I'm really glad that I've got it, and I'm looking forward to reading it. I'm going to review it on this channel in a few weeks' time. Probably, I think it'll be a month by the time I get around to it. But I have noticed a lack or a decline in the quality compared to the Howl book. And while you're here, if you want to just look at the Howl book, I'm going to show it you because you might not have seen it before. There's a lot of other unboxings of the Howl's Moving Castle book from when it came out, but I'm just going to show you real quick. And you know what? I'm going to compare the mass market paperback. So this is the mass market paperback, which, I mean, when I do the review, I'll go in, I'll review this cover. I really don't like this cover. It's a cool concept, but I just really, it's very graphic-y, and it's just, I just don't know. But again, so this is like generally acceptable that the whole book should be just words, except for the starts of the chapter, which this artist, he's done a few of Diana's books, and he did a lot of the Chrestomanci ones, I think. And he does quite a lot with the space that he's given. It's not just a simple tiny drawing, he does quite a big drawing at the beginning of each chapter. But still, I suppose part of it is to save save money, because it costs to print big illustrations. But even if it was like huge black and white illustrations, like, why can't that just be a full page? Why can't there just be more illustrations throughout? So yeah, that's my pet peeve about children's books. I rented this because I thought I didn't want to spoil this and read this, but do you know what? I paid for it, so I'm going to read it, and it's got really beautiful illustrations. So we have Sophie on the front with the castle, and it kind of glitters as well, which this one glitters, but I guess you don't really notice it as much. But then we've got cobwebs on the back, and like dew in the spider's web, which is really pretty. This is really pretty as well, this inside. Yeah, I just feel the quality is slightly better in this book. I don't know why. Maybe because I've had it longer. So here we have the first picture. This is a really beautiful picture of Sophie making hats. Let me just zoom in there. Trying not to get too much of the light on it, but some really nice, again, it's a muted colour palette, and it's quite a dark colour palette throughout this book, which I don't know if that really suits Howl, but This is one of my favourite pictures. This one and the last one are my favourite pictures in the book, because I feel like she has picked some odd things to illustrate. So we have this one here of Howl and Sophie, and I suppose it's hinting to her tidying up because she's got like her mop and her broom, and we have the cobwebs here. I don't really like this face on Howl. Don't get me wrong, she's an amazing artist and she's really good, but like, to me that's not Howl. And he looks totally different at the end as well, which kind of frustrates me, but I think she does so well with her compositions, and her environments are really beautiful, so I feel like she can get away with not keeping up character faces. I'll let her off. This is a nice illustration, but I never imagined his cloak to look like this. I feel like that's an awful kind of choice in purple blue, and it could be a lot brighter, more vivid. I think Howl is someone who dresses up really lavish and likes to show off, so this kind of colour palette, I don't think... It's like all the bright colours as well are covered up. Inside he's got these beautiful like pink trousers and this like orange top, but it's just covered by this grey, bluey purple, but it's all like grey, blue and purple, so it doesn't really scream and it doesn't really pop out. Anyway, that's the second picture. Beautiful skull on chapter 7. That's a really nice skull head. I like that. Reminds me of Beedle the Bard. I believe this is the third picture, yeah. I really do like this picture. Again, Howl as a child. I think this is Howl as a child. Looks nothing like Howl in the other picture. But we have Howl catching Calcifer. It's a really, really beautiful picture. I really like this one. It's nice. That's my only critique, is that he doesn't really look like the same character, but it is from a far away angle and he is younger, so... And I know Howl changes his hair as he gets older, so... Number 4. I really don't like this picture. Again, so we've got a strange colour palette. She decided to make the Queen a brown person, which is admirable. But then just the colour palette, it's just like this blue hair, and then orange and black, and then again this grey, purpley background. There's something about this picture I just don't like, and I think to invent a queen and like have a scene in a queen's palace would be quite an exciting prospect, but I feel like this is quite drab. But it's really beautifully illustrated, and I love these curves and this dress and stuff. It's just the colours. I think there's colours that I have an issue with. Number 5 frustrates me the most, because there's like... I mean, it's been a while since I've read this book, so I can't remember. I remember there was a bit of the story where there was mermaids in the sky and there was a storm happening, and it just sounded really cool to see. And I feel like this is a hint to that scene, but she's just done some clouds and somebody on the top of some sails and rooftop. I just feel like this is a wasted opportunity. Again, if you've got 6 illustrations to show, I know you have the difficulty of having to space them out evenly, but throughout the book. So like, if all the exciting stuff happens in the middle, you can't just do all those illustrations in the middle, but yeah, it's a nice picture, but this book is so magical, and it's just got so much material in there that it'd be like dying to illustrate. I feel like this is a wasted opportunity. So those last 2 frustrate me the most. But this the last illustration, which is number 6, I would say this is probably one of my favourites. This, again, we've got the grey-blue kind of colour palette, which is a bit drab and I don't like, but we have this nice hint of like these purples and magentas down at the bottom, and this really lovely orange. And this wind, this like magical wind, if I just zoom in, that Howl and Sophie are running on. First of all, it's just really nice to see them running on the wind. It's just a really cool illustration, I like that. The wind that they're running on is littered with this like glittering magic that was the same as this genie. Let me find it. Similar technique. Similar shapes as well. Just really, really nice work. Really magical. Really phenomenal work. I like this one. And I think this is the one that this illustration persuaded me to get the book. Just because I think it's so nice. But again, look at his face. It looks nothing like the other two illustrations of him. And I get that his hair's gone grey. But yeah. I suppose it'd be a difficult book to illustrate as Howl's hair changes colour throughout and then Sophie as well is changing age throughout. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. 2 pennies. Yeah, it's nice to have them both and I'm really looking forward to reading them. Really looking forward to finding out what the Castle in the Air is about. And do you know what? Despite me complaining about the quality, I would like them to do the third one, just so I've got all 3 together, which is the House of Many Ways. And the House of Many Ways is very, I don't know, I imagined it very different to these other 2 books. And for some reason I imagined the main character sat in more modern times, but it'd be nice to have the House of Many Ways just so I've got all the 3 together. But ideally, like if I could have any Folio Society, I would love to see the Crestomancy books illustrated, but by a different illustrator. I think that would be really nice. But okay, I'm gonna go now because this video is already a lot longer. Than I was like thinking, oh, what? How am I gonna like I don't know. I thought it'd be like 2 minutes, 5 minutes long or whatever, but had a lot to talk about there, which I didn't expect. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much, and goodbye.